Have you ever accepted a gift, something that seemed like an incredible bargain, only to find out it became the single most expensive, most stressful thing you owned?
Oh, absolutely. The gift that keeps on taking.
That's it, exactly. And today, we are deep diving into the tech world to expose that hidden high cost of free custom software, especially in the nonprofit sector. Welcome to this edition of the Click and Pledge's Fundraising Command Center podcast, where we talk the why, the what, and the how in the Click and Pledge's ecosystem.
And we're continuing our The Why series.
We're tackling a huge strategic liability that it really sneaks into organizations disguised as generosity.
It's so counterintuitive, you know?
Right.
We're all taught that saving money up front is a good thing.
Always.
But in technology, especially for something as critical as fundraising, that free price tag often creates these massive long-term costs that can actually undermine the entire mission.
Okay, let's unpack this with a story. I want to start in ancient Siam with a gift that was basically a weapon. We're talking about the famous white elephant.
It's a perfect analogy for technical infrastructure. The legend is so powerful because it highlights the deception of a costly gift.
Right. So if the king of Siam wanted to strategically ruin a rival, he would present them with one of these rare, sacred albino elephants.
And it was such a huge honor, you couldn't refuse it.
You absolutely had to accept it. But here's the catch.
Because it was sacred, the animal couldn't be used for work, it couldn't carry anything, couldn't generate income, nothing.
All you could do was feed it, house it, hire special handlers, and those maintenance costs, they were specifically designed to bankrupt the owner.
And that is exactly what we see happening in the nonprofit world today. Organizations are constantly getting what look like these wonderful acts of benevolence, but they are technological white elephants.
They're custom-built solutions that come with no upfront fee.
But they carry these crippling, lifelong maintenance obligations that the organization is just not equipped to handle.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is the start of what we call the volunteer curse. Let's just, sketch out a scenario that plays out all the time.
Every day.
You have a talented programmer, let's call him Dave. He's passionate about your mission. He comes to your team and says, hey, I'll build you a custom donation form, completely free of charge.
And the reaction is always pure enthusiasm. The board hears zero cost, and they see a massive win.
Instant approval. Everyone's celebrating the savings, the volunteerism, and at first, the system works great.
Well, then, life happens.
It always does.
Yeah.
6 months, maybe a year later, Dave lands his dream job across the country. Or he starts a family, he stops answering emails.
He vanishes. The brilliant volunteer is just gone from the day-to-day.
And now the nonprofit is the sole owner of that code. They're left holding the leash of the white elephant.
Exactly. And ownership means you're now responsible for feeding it. This is where we get into the concept of technical debt.
Technical debt. I like that. So it's not a financial loan. It's a commitment to future work that was never actually budgeted for.
That's it, exactly. Every single line of code that Dave wrote, while it was free at first, now represents a promise of future work. That code needs constant feeding updates, patches, compatibility checks.
But the nonprofit doesn't have the in-house expertise or the resources to provide that care.
And that slow buildup of technical debt leads directly to system failure.
So give us the most common, the most tangible example of that failure. It's usually not some big dramatic server crash, is it?
No, that's the scary part. It's a silent, insidious failure caused simply by the passage of time.
Let's use that real-world example. So set the scene for us. It's December 2025. An organization is relying on Dave's custom form for their peak year-end giving campaign. And suddenly the phones light up, the complaints are rolling in, I can't donate, I keep getting an error.
And your first thought is, okay, did hacker take down the server? Is everything crashing?
Right, you assume the worst.
But the issue is far simpler and honestly far deadlier to the mission. The volunteer, years ago, built a credit card expiration field. And instead of using a dynamic list, he hard-coded the years into a drop-down menu.
He manually typed in 2022, 2023, 2024, all the way to, maybe 2030? He probably thought, that's plenty of time.
He thought he was safe. But here we are in 2025, and card issuers are already giving out cards that expire in 2033 or 2035.
Oh, wow.
So a donor with a brand new card gets to that list, and it just stops at 2030. They physically cannot select their real expiration year.
The donation fails, and they either go to another charity or they just give up.
And the irony is just devastating. The form is probably still showing old years, like 2022, cluttering up the screen.
But the critical years needed right now, 2031 and beyond,
Yeah.
they're just missing. So thousands of dollars are just hemorrhaging every single hour.
And this is the tragedy of the white elephant. The maintenance costs of this free asset just went through the roof. The staff realizes they need to change maybe 8 numbers in a file. It's a 5-minute fix for a developer.
But Dave is gone. They don't have his login. They don't understand his code because it's not documented.
And they certainly don't have an engineer on staff who can just jump in and make that change.
So what does the organization do in the middle of their biggest fundraising push of the year?
They panic. They have to hire an emergency consultant, probably at rates of $300 to $500 an hour, who won't even look at the code without complex liability waivers.
So that simple 5-minute fix.
Now costs the organization $5,000, plus all the thousands lost in failed donations. The free system just ate a huge chunk of their annual budget.
It sounds like the staff is now spending 80% of their time panicking about broken tech and only 20% on their actual mission.
It's a massive distraction. And that functional error, the date list, that's just one piece of the problem. That was a money-losing headache. But what happens when that same stagnant code opens up a massive legal and ethical nightmare?
Right. Let's shift to security, because technology moves at the speed of thought. And if your platform is frozen in time, that lack of motion itself becomes the vulnerability.
It does. We need to talk about the security arms race. You've probably heard of a zero-day attack.
Right. That's when hackers find a vulnerability, a hole in the software, before the developer even knows it exists.
Exactly. And in the commercial world, like here at Click and Pledge, our engineering teams are in a frantic race against the clock to write and deploy a patch, often within hours. It's an intense, crucial race.
But in the volunteer curse world, with that custom code Dave built years ago,
there is no runner in that race.
there's no team.
Precisely. If that 3-year-old code has a dependency, maybe some underlying library, that suddenly gets a critical 0-day vulnerability, the commercial world patches it, but Dave's code is just sitting there, static.
There's no team paid to stay up until 3:0 a.m. to monitor and fix that system.
So you don't have a 0-day vulnerability that eventually gets fixed. You have something much worse.
What do you call a security hole that just stays open forever?
We call it an infinite day or a forever day vulnerability.
Wow.
The security hole stays open indefinitely because the system has been abandoned. There's no path to maintenance, no documentation, no one's accountable.
And the stakes here are monumental.
Yeah.
This isn't just about losing $5,000 in December. This is about donor data being exposed.
Huge reputational damage, potential legal liability because you failed to protect sensitive information. This is the ultimate cost of feeding that white elephant.
It really is. That technical debt, when it's unpaid and ignored, it just accumulates until the whole mission is threatened.
Absolutely.
So if the problem is this systemic and, frankly, this terrifying, what is the strategic solution? Are we saying nonprofits should just stop accepting help?
No, not at all. But we are recommending a total strategy shift. Nonprofits need to stop trying to own the complexity and the liability of custom software.
So stop trying to maintain and secure a proprietary code base built by one person.
Because it's financially impossible and strategically irresponsible for almost every organization, we recommend shifting that burden, that risk, entirely. We recommend shifting to obsolescence as a service.
Obsolescence as a service. That sounds a little counterintuitive. Why would you pay for obsolescence?
It does sound strange, but you have to acknowledge that change is inevitable. Tech will become obsolete, that's a guarantee.
Right. Laws change, browsers change.
Privacy regulations, payment industry standards, and yes, the years on the calendar change.
So when our team, when Click and Pledge, frames this, what exactly are organizations paying for when they use a robust SaaS platform?
They're paying for a professional team to manage the evolution of the platform for them. You are transferring the panic.
I like that. Transferring the panic.
You're paying an entity of dedicated engineers to worry about all kinds of obsolescence automatically. First, there's functional obsolescence, like that date list. We make sure our systems dynamically update years in advance. You never have to think about it. Second, security and regulatory obsolescence. When a new 0-day threat emerges, our team is the one awake at 3:0 a.m. patching it. The cost of that constant defense is pooled and absorbed by us.
And what's the third kind?
Platform obsolescence.
Hmm.
We make sure the donation forms work on the newest iPhone, the latest version of Chrome, and integrate with all the payment gateways. That constant maintenance is just part of the service.
So it sounds like you're paying for the peace of mind that it doesn't matter if Dave leaves because the system is designed to evolve on its own.
The safety is in a system that's designed to move at the speed of thought, evolving for you.
That is a powerful takeaway. So free custom code is like feeding this giant animal that threatens to bankrupt you.
While a paid, commercially managed service lets you outsource the entire herd management operation.
The goal, ultimately, is seamless, secure, and uninterrupted fundraising. And that capacity relies on infrastructure that's built not just to work today, but to keep pace with tomorrow.
Right. We really recommend that leaders treat these platform decisions as fundamental to their security and their mission capacity. The goal is to stop accumulating technical debt.
It's a strong position. The difference between a free gift and a strategic partner really comes down to who is managing that inevitable change.
And for you, our listener, here is a provocative thought to consider. Don't treat technical debt as some future expense. It is, right now, an invisible reduction in your current fundraising capacity and your security. If your system can't take a card expiring in 2035, you aren't potentially losing money someday. You are losing donations right now.
That's a great frame for evaluating your current platforms. It makes the decision feel much more urgent. For more information about this and all Click and Pledge products, make sure to visit clickandpledge.com and request for a one-on-one training or demo. Whether you are a client or curious about our platform, just ask us and we will gladly get together with you to chat. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast to stay up to date with all the latest and greatest features of the Click and Pledge Fundraising Command Center.